You'll never get out of that subway alive.
Roger, we're at the station.
This is Charlie Leader. Power has been shut off. Repeat, power is off.
Welcome back to Let's Play Manhunt. Last time we broke through the police barricades and into the subway, but they're not just gonna let us ride free. Some people are a bit squeamish about killing the cops in this game, particularly with executions. It was never a point of major controversy amidst all the other controversies this game kicked up, probably because Grand Theft Auto had stolen a lot of that thunder years before. For me, the mitigating factor is that this is the Carcer City Police Department. You'll notice sometimes that they refer to Cash as a hobo or a wino. Apparently all they had to be told was that some homeless guy had broken out of the shitty part of Carcer and into the residential area. That was enough to come in busting heads and guns blazing. Holy shit, speaking of guns blazing. Seems that guy was packing a submachine gun, the fire rate of which is such a nightmare that you can just round a corner and suddenly die without having ever known what hit you. Knowing this thing's in play is going to definitely keep me on my toes. Breaking the bottle on these water coolers can sometimes drop a shard of glass you can use for executions, but it's random. Didn't happen here. Oh, and the Carcer City Police also starred in a snuff film called CCPD Brutality Caught on Tape, which implies that they didn't even know they were filming it. They're reminding us of this rusty lock mechanic. Wasted half my ammo trying to break that one. Wonder why they'd remind us before we break into this not very shadowy subway.
This is Bravo Leader. Regroup at the tracks. Roger, Alpha Team. Charlie is en route from the precinct as we speak.
And while we're down here, we've got a pincer maneuver being operated on us. That's not good.
I ain't gonna hurt you.
We're off to a pretty solid start, all things considered. But good lord, are we outnumbered and outgunned. With only 5 shots, this is not going to go well. There's another SMG going off.
I must have been hearing things.
Had to take that guy out before he bumped right into me. We got a bit of a head start, but not enough to take a sniper shot, that's for damn sure. This subway area is extremely hectic. These aren't regular police officers that are coming after us. These are SWAT guys. They mean business, and they're a lot more powerful than the cops were. They're also much better well-informed. They know we're not just some homeless schlub wandering around, getting lucky here and there. Means we're gonna have to take things very carefully. Use guerrilla tactics, divide them as best we can. Pop off a target and move like the wind. They do move in formation, which does a lot to prevent us from using our best tactics. It's not always the best idea to take every opportunity you're afforded. It's also scary to attempt pretty much anything down here. The moment's hesitation that they're going to try and invoke from you can be fatal. Don't want to go in there just yet. So they're still patrolling that area where we just killed the previous guy. Might give us a chance to take a sniper shot. Got the rifle left over from the last level. One shot whiffed, but we did take out someone, so it was worth it. Got no more sniper ammo and only a few Uzi shots. But all the way down here, I think we can afford to take a bit of a breather. It is one of the few shadowy areas, so we might be safe even if more than we can handle comes investigating. He's ran away before he quite got to us. He's trying to take the long way around, but this door is locked. We could shoot the lock off, that's why they reminded us of this mechanic. But that would make a lot of noise, and then they'd come out and destroy us. Because we're cornered.
Going all loco on us in the middle of the night.
By far the best way to survive is to know your terrain intimately.
I'd like to know why. Who is this guy anyway?
Just take whatever kills you can get, here and there. As long as you can escape after you kill someone, go for it. You're also going to want to kill absolutely everybody, because if anyone remains, they will block you in eventually. It's inevitable. So just take your time, creep around, hit people whenever you have the chance.
Something
Now, we got a shotgun there. That's good. More ammo and quite a bit more powerful. It's got a bit of a drawback, though. You may have seen when they were wielding the shotguns just what that was. We'll see it in action here before too long. This area is so crawling with enemies that it's inevitable that one will wander by. A lot of inevitability down here in the subway. We have only the slightest bit of control.
waterproof to 100 meters. I wear it in the shower and it screws up.
That guy had a heavy handgun. Does a lot of damage from a decent range.
I'm ready to roll.
The light at the end of our shotgun sort of ruins any stealth tactics we might have hoped to accomplish with it. Even still, it's powerful enough that we're going to want to use it where we can. You're also going to want to take note of the fact that all of the ground on the outside here is gravel. Can't sneak up on anybody. And you need those headshots because these guys are even tougher than cops. Body shots are virtually worthless. Seems like we've cleared the outside. Pretty good progress at the cost of all of our health and most of the painkiller pickups. There's one last one out here. So it looks like we gotta bust into the main area. Get a lucky long distance kill. We're off the gravel, so we could sneak around, but no one to really sneak to. More submachine gun ammo. That might come in handy. And we just gotta charge this guy, who's a much better shot with the shotgun than we are. Yeah, he was gonna win that war of attrition. So time to use that new ammo. Better range damage. It's also a hell of a lot quieter than most of the other guns, which is one of the reasons we survived some of the encounters we have. Other guns would bring down the entire place on our head. So we finally got a shotgun that doesn't have a flashlight taped to it. Here's the other side of that locked door. Can't go through. Just make sure absolutely everything is clear, because I don't want to lose all this progress. Move on to the control room, the main event, which is already full of guys, one of whom has another submachine gun. We got a bit of a stare down. Neither of us can see each other, but each of us could kill the other in a moment.
It's him, I see him.
I don't like this situation.
I'm awaiting backup. Over.
At least hit our goal while I'm here, but now I gotta make it out alive. He lost us in the shadows, so he's on a bit lower of an alert. Gotta get the painkillers and take him out. I honestly did not think I was going to get him in one shot, so I fired again. Just instinctively. Cash is very much on the edge of his sanity here. This is an extremely intense situation. Anyone less cool-headed than our man here would not be able to handle it. Now it seems like, miraculously, we have slaughtered absolutely every human being who came down here after us. Seemingly impossible, but managed to do it. And our reward is we get to finally take the train. There's a clip of handgun ammo next to that garbage can there, but I opted for the new Uzi anyway. Not taking any chances. I'm certain they brought some reinforcements in. That's not a ringing phone, that's the train telling us that it's ready to go. I was kind of hoping that the director would try and get in touch with us here like he did at the very beginning of the scene. But he doesn't have anything nice to say, and so is saying nothing at all. Nor does he have any reason to know that we're still alive and would be the ones answering the phone. But indeed, we are still alive, against all odds. And I'm going to want to protect this precious gift of life by taking things very slowly and paranoidly. We've hit a save point, so even if we do die, we don't have to go through the subway again. And there's more painkillers, so we can move on with full health.
Soft with it. Trains will start running through here in a few hours. I see you!
We're off to a pretty good start. We did call down some guys. But for some reason, that counted as shadow that we were in. So he missed us. All the better for it. And we've got our handgun back since we were almost out of Uzi ammo.
This is dispatch to Adam 11. We have a code 1. Suspect is civilian heading your way.
That was an ineffective attack. That did draw our attention to more painkillers should we need them. Here comes the next wave, looks like. Finally get a chance to use some cover. Hasn't even been an option this entire stage. That guy got a few lucky shots in. Fortunately, painkillers. Now we should be clear to move on. But we're not. Another ambush waiting from a very advantageous position. Clearly we are not quite to the easy part yet. If there even is an easy part. Just making sure we're clear. Can't be too safe here. Music indicates that more are coming, as does the minimap. We got a nice shadowy closet with even more painkillers, so... That was enough to win us the day. You can only stun lock enemies using the handgun here if you're a certain distance away. So you can't really do it reliably, unfortunately. And at the top of the stairs, there's some more goddamn movement. They just will not let us through. So we've got half health. Maybe that's enough. And it is. Trying to blast the ketchups in victory. And indeed, we are victorious. Quite a horrifyingly difficult scene, I must say. And everything I explained about ratings in the previous scene, completely out the window here. Executions are virtually impossible unless you get one of those glass shards from the water coolers, or you smuggle in a crowbar from the previous scene. Clearly, we would not have had many opportunities to perform executions anyway. And regardless, unless you kill absolutely everybody, all 25 hunters, you don't get those 3 style points. It's all or nothing here. The time limit for this scene, however, is 7 minutes and 30 seconds. The lowest time limit of any scene in the entire game. Then you have to play on hardcore, so you don't know what's coming anytime you jump around a corner. All that makes for an incredibly intense gunfight that seems completely impossible your first time attempting it. But eventually, once you work the knot out of your heart, it will come to you and be pretty goddamn satisfying, I have to say. This scene is very ill-suited to Manhunt, being exclusively gunplay, but it is the most tense scene I've played so far in the game, and that way it is a huge success. That said, a lot of mixed opinions about this one. It is sort of notorious and a roadblock for most players. Clearly the kill squads are getting more and more serious with each one we survive. I shudder to even think about what lies ahead. We've seen a lot of this expressionless face throughout Manhunt, but no matter how well we get to know him, James Earl Cash's stoicism leaves a lot of questions unanswered. Since he's not going to tell us anything, maybe we can get something out of the man he's named after, James Earl Ray. Ray served in the Army at the tail end of World War II, and within a few years of returning home committed his first burglary in California. He spent the following decade building a rap sheet of armed robberies and other thefts, resulting in a 20-year prison sentence, but he escaped from prison in 1967 by hiding in a truck as it carried bread from the prison bakery. He then fled to Mexico, where he tried to make a living directing pornography, but gave up on that venture and returned to the United States by the end of the year. It was in April of the following year that Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in the motel across the street from where Ray, a racially prejudiced man who had volunteered for a segregationist presidential campaign, had taken up residence. Ray fled to Canada and later London before his passport was flagged and he was extradited back to Tennessee, where he pled guilty to King's murder and was sentenced to 99 years in prison. In June of 1977, he escaped prison yet again and spent 3 days on the outside before being apprehended and returned with another year added to his sentence, making it an even century of incarceration. As with most assassinations, conspiracy theories abound, with some believing Ray did not fire the bullet that killed Martin Luther King, including many of King's surviving relatives. Ray recanted his confession 3 days after he was convicted, saying he'd only confessed to avoid the death penalty and spent the rest of his life trying to prove his innocence. This only serves to further confuse the mystery behind James Earl Cash, whose crimes remain frustratingly unknowable, but ultimately irrelevant so long as he's willing to do anything to escape and survive.